Oh, okay.
Yeah, so welcome, Reverend Rachel.
Thank you.
So first, I just want to tell you the story about what inspired me to reach out to you.
Yes.
So I was working on this project that I have for this community. It's an astrology community
Yes.
for, like business development. Um, and they was going through the lessons and everything, and we were talking a lot about like these people that we love to work with, essentially, right? And you flashed in to my awareness as I was literally reading the text.
Wow.
And it was two reasons, really. One
Mm.
was like just the preparation that happened specifically for your reading. I remembered like sitting there with the paintings and just listening to them, delivering that message, right, of
Yes.
love for you, and
Uh,
then through your chart. So that felt just fun to remember. And then the other thing I thought about was that big vision that you had at that time. And all, like the emails that I've seen that you've sent since about vibe. And I was just like, that's it, like you had a vision and now here it is. And that is magical. And I just want to see more of that in the world. So
yes. Thank
that's
you.
why we're getting together.
Ooh, that feels it's very, I'm honored and humbled and yeah. Thank you so much for thinking of me. And I think that's what we should be doing. And that's why I
Mhm.
send out, all of these things that I'm interested in. I want to share them with people that I know would be um, interested in connecting with people that are, uh, I feel that fit the vibe that we are trying to create. So, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before we kind of jump into the short questions that I had for
Mhm.
you,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear in your words more about this community because I've read the emails and they're great.
Yeah.
I haven't had time to respond just because there's other things, but it's like one of those things that's working in the back of my head.
Of course.
So, could you share a little bit more about like
Yes.
how did that come to be? Where are you in that process? And what are you hoping for?
Yeah. So first of all, vibe, VIBE stands for vibration, uh, intuition, belonging, and energy, elements that I believe make up a spiritual community. And so the idea of this came to me, well, actually, the name came to me while I was swimming laps in the pool because I couldn't figure out what to call this. Is it a circle? Is it a church? No. Is it a spiritual community? Yes. But, what do we call it? And so vibe came to me because the idea that I've been feeling that I want to get across is that it's like a ripple effect. When you drop a stone in the water and it, makes the ripples. And that's kind of how the image that came to my mind, even before the vibe came to me, the name. But ideally, I've been feeling for actually, I would say several years, probably since the pandemic, about creating something that would bring people together in to talk about spiritual topics and metaphysical topics or mystical topics that might, and everyone might be from different religious backgrounds. Maybe they belong to churches, maybe they don't, maybe they have no religious background, maybe they don't want anything to do with religion, but they have questions. And so where do we go to talk about that? And so it led me into creating Reiki shares, which are a pretty common thing in the Reiki community, to get together and you give and receive Reiki, take turns doing that. But also, one thing I integrated into that was a half an hour discussion on a particular topic, like what is vibrational energy? What is the spiritual body? What is intuition, and just basic questions that people were like, wow, I'm really glad we had that discussion because I've been feeling this or that way about that topic. But maybe those folks didn't have a place where they could share those kinds of conversations, or felt like they weren't really being heard. So from in that, or in whatever their context is.
Mm.
And so, it just started very small, and I just kept thinking of the ripple effect of, all right, we're creating a community here, just through the Reiki practice. But then I've always felt like there needs to be more to it. Like it's not just a Reiki share, because there's plenty of Reiki shares in the community. But I kept feeling like, I want to do more with it and have more time so that we could really relax into a conversation and include maybe some sound healing or some type of vibrational activity, which can be anything creative, really anything that inspires some type of creativity. And so we're going to invite, there's a couple of other facilitators that are working as a part of my team that we're creating, of rotating facilitators. It won't be the same people every time, but people to come and offer some gift that they have, whether it be art or music, ecstatic dance, yoga, Reiki, drumming, all the things. So, it's the possibilities are endless. But the idea would be that we come together, we have a moment to share and use that vibrational activity to connect. Then we have a conversation, probably a meditation as well is going to happen, or some type of connection time, um, through meditation or quiet activity. And then it leads into the discussion. So that's really the framework, is just creating, being creative, but also allowing for those deeper conversations, which is also creative. So our words are vibrational. What we're saying and putting out there in the universe is vibrational. So all of that is really important to me. Um, and I've just been feeling more and more that needs to happen out of me. Like that's just something that I'm feeling really drawn to do, for the community. So I'm going to be doing more things about that as we approach, but it'll be happening once a month. So the idea is that there will be artists, facilitators, and then I will facilitate the conversation part, but I will have other people popping in from time to time to offer whatever they want to offer as part of the night. So it's a 90-minute time frame. So that's just a little bit of what I've been feeling. And I've also just been watching the trends of other types of groups in the community, because there's a lot of support groups. I mean, and maybe not everyone knows how to access those, but there seems to be a lot out there already. So I was trying to think of something that maybe is a little bit unique or different, but also I want to encourage, uh, to me, part of building community is building confidence, that you can build confidence in those other people that attend your events, that are, oh, they have a gift. This is your time to shine as a leader. So I want to encourage others to lead. And, I really don't want to say a whole lot because I talk a lot anyway. So I want to allow other people, their voices to be heard. So that's really important to me as well. So that's just a
Mm.
little bit about it. I mean, I can certainly, any other specifics, feel free to ask, but that's the general framework.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's obvious that you have put a lot of care and thought into this.
Thank
There's
you.
so many things there. There's the
Yeah.
swimming in the
Mm-hmm.
water when
Yeah.
the name came to you, and that
Mm-hmm.
ripple vision. I love that so much because when you keep anchoring back into a vision, it helps you stay attuned
Mm-hmm.
to the energy of your intention, which is
Yeah.
what this kind of painting is also all about.
Right.
Also, really love that you've opened it up beyond the Reiki share because there are people in the community who, for whatever reasons,
Yeah.
aren't interested in
Right.
practicing or sharing Reiki. And,
Right.
you know, to have this, it feels more inclusive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I really like that a lot.
Good.
Also, you're talking about opening up so people can shine their light,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's super exciting to me because from an astrological perspective, we're getting to move into that time of where we're focused on this kind of karmic evolutionary journey of the soul. And it's all about shining our authentic light
Yeah.
in a way that reaches people, you know, that is not performative, but is more just natural. Like, how could I
Mm-hmm.
not be who I am? And it sounds like your organizational ideas that you have will help support that. So,
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
yeah, that's really exciting, Rachel.
Thank you. So that's, that's one piece of it. I mean, the more practical, earthly part of all of that vision is that I also have an opportunity to turn it into an established spiritual community, meaning financially. So I can get financial support from this. So as we work through this, and if it's meant to be that, and we'll see how people respond to it and all of that. But ideally, my goal is to turn it into a community. And we're using the space here where I work and they've been very open here at the Unitarian Universalists of Cumberland Valley you know, for me to use their space. It's also an opportunity for people who are more intellectual in their faith or how they view their faith, to look at things like, as I mentioned earlier, that's more in the mystical realm or in that kind of metaphysical philosophical realm. So and that's something even here, where I work, people have mentioned to me that, oh, we'd love to have more like spiritual conversations. And so what I love about that, it's open to anyone of any background. It can be, or someone who's just curious and can come. It's not, you don't have to, there's no prerequisites for anything, like you said. That's what I love about this possibility. Um, so yeah, so there's definitely a lot of interesting possibilities. Um, and so right now I'm just trying to start by showing up and seeing who shows up kind of start there. But it feels good. And the people that I've been talking to and talking about it, people who have stepped forward as some co-facilitators, are very excited about it. And I want to be sure their vision is part of this as well. So if they have things they're interested in, that is included in the process. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So when I hear you talking about how like it's that starting phase, right?
Right.
And you're not really sure how it'll go.
Yeah.
And from timing perspectives, this is where one of the places I love astrology so much because it can help us see, oh, here's this big vision. When was it born? And what's its life cycle? You know, because there are parts of that process where we're called to act, but we're not really sure.
Mhm.
Um, and we still have to persevere and hold this vision. And then, you know, we get some more information and we get feedback and then we get to refine. And it's a process over time.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I'm wondering, that feels like a good segue into
Mhm.
where you're sitting right now, where you're working, right? Because
Yeah.
when we got together in November of
Right.
2024, you weren't there quite,
No, no,
right?
no.
So, yeah, I would love to time travel back to that moment when we
Yes.
got together
Yeah.
and just ask you, what was that like? Like, what was stirring in you before we got together?
Yeah. So I think what was interesting is I believe when I look back at the paper here, which I have in front of me, which it was really heart stopping when I looked at things that you had written down, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's exactly what is what is happening, which I'll share some of that in a moment. But the definitely, I think the first thing, um, for what stirred in me before we got together was the shift in what I'm called to do. So, should I leave, meaning just not serve in the traditional church as I had for 25 years, and do something else, which I had already been doing Reiki and some other wellness practices, um, in kind of together with my church work. And so I just really felt that there was this shift in my calling, and just really curious through the chart how that's going to play out. And so that was the beginning, I think, of that conversation for myself, and then led me to you.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. And within that, you shared a little bit of the uncertainty, right, around those ideas, but they were persistent for you, right? It wasn't like a new thing.
Right.
If I remember correctly, and one of the things that you had mentioned was that you were able to just trust that
Mhm.
you kind of had all this within you all along,
Yeah.
and the chart and the conversation just confirmed a lot of that.
Yes. Yeah, because it was interesting when I was working on some of these questions you sent, and it said, what shifted, and I said the shift in my calling, and then what felt uncertain, and the shift in my calling, it was the same thing. So it was like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Then there's the doubt, and then the
Hmm.
imposter syndrome of like, am I really doing this, or what's happening? you know and just trusting, which I have a hard time getting to that place sometimes, but it definitely, that's really, this process with you helped me to confirm that. Yeah.
And it sounds like maybe sink in a little to practicing the trust, right?
Yes.
And knowing that things are gonna, like, when things are in
Mhm.
flux, and especially if we're building something new, we're gonna be faced with all kinds of fears,
Oh, yeah.
doubts,
Mhm.
worries, all of that. And I that's one of the things that I hope in my work, that I can give people a way to meet the real experiences, like you said before, on Earth, that we're going to encounter when we're trying to bring a big vision to life.
Yeah.
So now that you have this office that you're working in, this space, and you're seeing clients there, I just wonder if you would take a moment and tell me, what does that feel like for you? Like, to like a day in the life. You pull up in the parking lot, right, into this dream that you created. What is
Right.
that like for you?
Oh, um I still have to pinch myself sometimes, like, just thinking, not that, I guess what really has helped is having a community within a community for myself, but just this community here of this building and this congregation that has been very supportive of me being here. And for them, I'm supporting their church by paying rent, but also they've noticed a shift in the energy in the room and the space. And, I'm also present on Sundays, in the morning. So, people see me a little bit more. And, yeah, it's just made for some interesting conversations. And, I think for the day to day, kind of what happens when I walk in is I always go back to the original vision. And I think that was one of your questions about when did I realize I was going to create my space. But I started back in 2020 when I took a mentoring course with my Reiki teacher, Ricky Merrill Friedman. And we did a whole mentoring, course. And, one of the things she said was, I want you to envision exactly, like, as specific as possible, what you want your space to look like. What is this going to look like? What is it going to feel like? And when I did, one of the things I put in there was that I imagined, like she said, even, what color is the paint going to be on the walls and all of that kind of thing. And I said, and I think in my description I had put, I wanted trees on the wall, or I wanted nature was certainly part of my, what I was going to find. And so when I got to this room, there are no trees on the wall, as you can see. But and I don't know how to flip the screen, but I'll try to do this. But outside,
Oh, right on. Oh my gosh.
so, and there are trees. There's a little garden here with a place to sit, and it's quite beautiful, and it's actually a little memorial garden, so it's beautiful, and there's trees, and so I was like, as soon as I started working on my working on a client behind me, I realized, I'm like, this is it. I was looking out the window, obviously this time of year all the leaves aren't on the trees, but it's just beautiful. It's lush and um, just beautiful. And then the school across the way, there's a big field of green, and I realized, yeah, that's it. This is it. So that it's very interesting how, at first I'm like, oh yeah, this is a silly exercise. Yeah, right. I mean, this is really going to happen, and da da da. But yeah, I didn't think of it that extreme. But in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, this may happen, it may not. I mean, I'm also trying to, that part where you're like, oh, I don't want to have high expectations, right?
Right.
In case I, whatever. But as soon as I came in here, and I didn't really think about it before, and then it just hit me, like it just came to me, like, this is what you thought of, and it's coming. And I had
Mm,
worked other places before that, and it just, it wasn't part of the original vision. I'm like, yeah, but I think everything is a step toward the ultimate goal. So whether it was the
yeah.
place before or not, the place I'm at now certainly is the vision that I believe I thought of.
Yeah. Oh, I can totally feel that, Rachel. And I love that. I want to circle back to
Yeah.
mentorship and timing in a minute,
Yes.
but everything that you just talked about illustrates that checkpoints along the way. And I just wonder, you kind of said it now, so I want to circle back to this.
Yeah.
Given that, what would you say to someone that's holding a big vision right now?
I love that question, because the first thing that came to mind when I read that question was, uh, and it's hard to see it when you're in the midst of holding the vision, but when I look back, I realize how far I've come, and realize that there was little steps along the way, that led to the vision. And I don't even know if this is the end of the vision. I mean, I'm sure there is more. I'm pretty sure there's more. So I never like to say, okay, I've completed the vision, I'm done, it's over, because I feel like there might be more. But I do tell people and I never think about, oh, we don't want to look back on the past, but I use the past as a way to say, look at all I have done that has led me to this point, and that has created the person I am now, created the space that I want. And to me, that's what defines what hope is. Because I think a
Mm,
lot of times we lose hope in the vision. And I know I have. Like, I've had a lot of creative ideas, and I have seen people say no so many times to me. No, we can't do that because we don't have this resource or that resource, or that kind of thing. And then I'm like, well, I'll have to put that on hold. And so I might have a vision, and then it's like I get all these no's and obstacles along the way. But I really feel like now, despite all of that, it's there's a clear path that has somehow led to this point. And oftentimes I feel like there is a lot of that, because and I think it's very hard to see that in, say, in the country right now. We're not
mm,
feeling, or in the world, we're feeling, where is the hope? What is the hope of this future? Um, and so it's amazing to me that, okay, you can still hold your vision, um, if you have that hope, whatever that looks like to you, whatever it means for you, whether it's a spiritual notion or not.
Oh, uh-oh. I lost you, Rachel. What? Go ahead and
Oh,
so we're back. We
we're
had a blip,
back.
but now we're back. Back with the big
Oh my
vision.
goodness. All right, repeat the question again, or what where we left off there.
Well, you were just wrapping up with that idea of like whatever the vision is, whether
Yeah,
it's a spiritual vision or like a community vision or
right.
anything we want to create, there are, like you were talking about the no's, especially along the way.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I think that's such an important thing
yeah,
to remember that the no's are part of the vision coming together.
yes, yeah. And I
Yeah.
think one thing that I've learned in this wellness community world is that a lot of times I just, and I think also with my background, I often tell myself it's just not meant to be, or the timing isn't right, or
Yeah.
other things like that. So I try to incorporate that language. And it can be very frustrating. I mean, the truth of it is it's frustrating. And especially when you're feeling that creative energy, like right now, and you want to get it
Yeah.
out. And it's like, what do I do with this? You know?
This is what you do. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
exactly. That's what you do, and that's what
perfect,
started.
right?
Like I try to write, or I try if I can, and I paint, or but like now I just was painting my not here, but at home painting my walls. Because I
Yeah,
needed to redo.
right.
So just do something where I'm physically, or take a walk. So that helps
Mhm.
me kind of like move the energy. So if I can't like get it out, like as I
Right.
would like it to get out, because apparently it's not my thing to get out. It has to come in the as I would say divine timing. So
Yeah.
in that being patient is very hard. And
Right.
I've told people before, and even many people tell me, because I've not historically been a patient person at all, and get impatient, but I've learned to kind of slow that process down for myself. But when someone's looking at a vision or holding a vision, and you're holding on to it, and you're like, when can I let this explode? And it really, the more I try to force that to happen, it doesn't happen. So the
Mhm.
more like I get impatient, I'm like, I'm just going to do this thing. And then well, it doesn't, it just, or then it's done more about out of a place of anxiety or fear, and then that vibration is going
Right.
into the work. So it's like I've learned, I wouldn't tell someone all of that because it's a little confusing, but it is, to me, it's a ripple effect. I mean, just it's
Mhm.
really, the energy is a ripple effect. So, and
Yeah.
I like to talk to other people. Like Beth, for example, has been very helpful in helping me create a proposal for my vibe community. So she's been helping me come up with questions and what else you need to be looking at, and considering this holistically. So we need the community to help us, I think, create the vision, because sometimes if you're just doing it by yourself, it gets it, it may you may need the help of just trying, okay, what
Mhm.
are the things I need to be looking for to open up the pathways to make it a little clearer to get swim through to the next
Yeah, and to
place
make it
or
through
whatever.
the moments of doubt and
Yeah,
confusion that are part
yeah,
of the process.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah,
That is why I paint. This is my version of the big vision.
yeah.
Similar, I'll bring Reiki
Hmm.
by Ricky into the conversation because um, I am going to be teaching a scaled down version of this process at Reiki by Ricky
Good.
on Earth Day. Painting with the Angels is a
Yeah,
vision that I've had for a long time. I've
I
been
love
doing that myself, and um, just like there's so much that I have to share and say about this process. It does slow us down. It brings us
Yeah.
present to the timing. Like all of creation has a life cycle. And when we can really tap into where we are within that
Mhm.
larger vision, we can kind of rest a little bit in the moments that's calling for rest and act when we're calling to act and
Mm.
refine when that's what we need to do and,
Yeah.
distill the wisdom. And I think that the timing aspect of astrology is just so important from my perspective. And it sounds like when we got together way back in November of
Yeah.
2024,
Yeah.
that was active then. It's certainly
Yeah.
active now.
Right.
I would love to have an opportunity to share some sort of version of this, whether it's a
Yeah.
bigger painting class, which I'm definitely looking for
Mhm.
people who want to take that bigger journey as
Yes.
well. Um, but the shorter ones are 2 hours, and you
Yeah.
just get to make a really lovely angel to accompany you for whatever you're working on in the moment. And this idea of continuing to work on a painting, whether it's a big
Yeah.
painting or a small one, as a way to keep in step with what we're
Mm.
creating, because I feel like that is really important and one of the biggest gifts that astrology has to offer. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. And I love the idea of, I think I loved the idea of that class because I've been seeing that and thinking if I have, I thought I potentially have a conflict that day, but I don't think so. But I wanted to double check. But I love that. And actually, I mean, and certainly here, people are very open to that and would either do that as a class or, part of. But I think having the extended time, I really like having the time to
Hmm.
really do more of that, like spending 2 hours to work on something like that. To me, I think allows for that space,
Yeah.
creativity,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and all the emotions that come with it, I think as well. So that's beautiful, beautiful. I'm
Yeah.
so excited for that vision because
Okay.
your artwork is very inspiring as well. Um, and love to see that. So yes.
Thanks, Rachel. Well, my
Oh,
vision and goal is to travel more with my paintings. And I'm really thinking about like even one at a time. And maybe it's one that I'm
mhm,
currently working on
sure.
um, as a kind of portal, point of entry for people to have their own experience. And I love working with the angels because they have been so gracious in working with me my whole
Oh,
life.
yes,
And one of the things, their core message is there's an angel for everything. So if we just ask,
yeah,
they are there.
they are
And
there.
when we enter into a relationship with them, oh
I have
yeah, like
I have three little. These are my Palo Santo angels. Can't really
ooh,
that
the
I
angels of
found a little
purification.
shop in Lingelstown. I forgot what there's a
Oh,
little, but I bought them. I just saw them and I kept like, oh, I don't, should I buy them? And circling back in the store,
yeah.
and they're my little guides. But anyway, but yes,
I
I
love
think they're
that.
very
Yeah.
important.
So
Yeah.
there's an angel for
Yep.
everything. And
Yeah.
if we ask,
Yes.
then we get to build that relationship. And when we bring our creative life force
Mm.
into that relationship, then things start to quicken and clarify, and we can clearly see where we're going, even when things we start to bump up against the kinds of experiences we'll have when we're making
Right.
something new.
Right.
But we recognize that as part of the process. And
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing that I want to bring to people is a way to bring spirit into matter, right?
Yes.
Into our lives in a way that we can keep working with. And the other thing that I'll be doing is angel cards. So imagine, like an angel oracle card deck, right?
Yes. Yes.
Only we're going to make our own. So I'm not sure yet the frequency or where this will
Oh,
be. So
yeah.
it is just something to throw into that pot. Maybe not like I don't think it would be specifically a vibe thing, although maybe I could talk about it there at some point.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as a class, I love the idea of people getting together and continuing to work on their
Right,
angels, right? Because
right.
so much of this is a practice, it's a process, and we'll meet all kinds
Yeah.
of other characters along the way,
Mhm.
but we can also bring the angels into that space.
Well, it's lovely you say that because I have had also as part of this vision, I love using angel cards as well if people like that during their session. And I had started to create a little class called Contemplative Tarot. And the idea, and it's actually a book. There's a book, and I forgot the name of the author, but what she does is I really like the concept of it. You can use it with tarot or oracle cards or whatever. But the idea is that you use, which I think we've talked about too, the sacred gazing, where we have people looking at a piece of artwork like an icon or one of your paintings, for example, and look at it as a prayer or a point of meditation, and as a starting point for
Mhm.
the intuitive possibilities to come forth. And so that's what I love. Like, I'll have people look at the card and just do their own, they always say, well, what does it mean? What does the card mean? Or what does, and I
Right.
like it better than tarot because I always feel like tarot, it's like a formula. You have to, I mean, you can interpret it however you want to, but I love the oracle because it's usually there's the angel. If it's an angel card, it usually has an angel or a message. And
Hmm.
so that's like really clear cut for people, but some of them are just the artwork, and then it allows for them to look deeper, so go deeper into the colors and the layers and and seeing, okay, what's coming forth for you in that layering.
Oh my gosh, you are speaking my
I was
language
like,
right
man, you
there.
would love that, because I was thinking that would be such a cool thing to do,
Mhm.
where people, and then of course creating your own is, I love that. I would love to do that.
Yeah,
I have
I'm
another
glad.
totally unrelated idea for a tarot set, but but I've always wanted to create. But yeah, I love it. I love that idea. I think
Yeah,
it's so
it
cool.
it reminds me what you're talking about, of this idea that we had that was inspired by a friend who went to a museum in Germany where they did this
Ah,
slow art.
oh wow.
It's a slow art movement where they are with a
Oh,
piece in a museum quietly for a specified period of time, right? They're
yeah.
just contemplating this one piece of art. And I had the idea of doing slow art Sundays where, it's a
Oh,
Sunday thing. We get together, we have tea. There is a space with one painting.
yes.
And I would bring mine because this is the work that I do. Not to
Right.
say
I
that
think
other
that.
people couldn't at some point do their thing too,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
this idea of coming together, contemplating that piece, and then making your own, like,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
just excites me. So,
And that excites me because I also had a vision of someone actually painting during the vibe time. Now that's an
mm,
hour. It's only an hour and a half, but I mean, it would be someone standing there, maybe Angel,
yeah.
and
Oh, it could
painting.
be a portal, a vibe portal. I'm
Right.
big into making portal
Exactly.
art.
Portal. Right, right, right. But something like, I have this vision of creation, that creating or making something out. I've done this before in worship settings where someone would actually make something out of clay during the
Mm,
whole service, and would
yeah.
create a sculpture, and so that's kind of a cool, so things like that where people, you know, um, I'm trying to. I didn't want too much stimulation visually, but I had this image. But anyway, but I really would love to incorporate art into vibe. Um,
Mhm.
and also,
Yeah.
on a side note, another little side note to this, is here at UUCV they have an art exhibit, so they feature for 3 month rotation artists in the
Mm.
community. And I might have mentioned this to you a while back, but they are like, I have some other friends, like, I don't know if you know Liz Brown. She has
Yeah.
some of
Yeah.
her art. Jason Turner had some of his art. And I had asked a couple other people too, and they're displaying their art for a 3 month rotation. And if you want to sell them, that's great. If not, that's fine too.
Hmm.
But some, it's an opportunity for people to have art that represents different themes, such as like
Ooh.
general themes, like belonging, or like vibe. Maybe we could do a painting thing around vibe. Like what does vibration mean, or how would you paint
Hmm.
that, or whatever. Whatever. So food for thought. See, this is my
Yeah,
brain
there's a
starts the
I
all
love
the
it.
creative energy.
This is how it works. The vision
Yeah.
comes in big, and
Hmm.
we can't manage all of that
No.
information,
Right.
but
Right.
we can create a container for it to
Yeah.
start to come to life in its own time.
Okay.
And that's how
I
I see
like that. Yeah, I
creativity.
appreciate. I
Yeah.
need that. A
Yeah.
container
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah.
So do I.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Yeah.
I would do if I didn't have a way to start working on what wants to come through in a
Absolutely.
creative way first, because it helps
Yeah.
ground the vision.
Yes, that's
That's
very important.
really what we're all about. So,
I wanted to share with you from the what you had sent me from
yeah.
my emotional weather report, and
Mm,
things that really have stuck with me that you said, which has been very interesting, is you said, or in your interpretation, you say, uh, showing others that spiritual freedom does not always mean departure.
mm,
And that was a really key phrase, especially when I was thinking about the question about my shift and my calling. That it's not that I'm leaving what I've always been doing, but it's just shifting into something else, and I'm not departing it.
mm.
And I
I,
want to share that with you, that was a really important phrase for me. And then what was the other one? The other one was, um, oh, your path is that of liberation, not by leaving the old behind, but by transforming it and yourself from within, which is, I think, a different way of saying, you're not abandoning the old. It's just different. It's shining, and that light, talking about the light, shining my light. I think that I'm not leaving the old behind, but I'm transforming it. And I think that's why I've never, like, I don't like to be one of those people that, like, oh, let's look back at the past, because not the negative past. I think we're, like, you don't want to look back on the trauma or whatever, but it's more about the vision. How has this vision been shaped by the past? And so I think I've been transforming it, my calling, in just new ways. So
mm.
yeah,
Thank you for sharing both
yeah,
of those pieces. I
that's
really
super important.
appreciate knowing that they were useful for you.
Yeah.
And yes, I would say that both of those are saying basically the same thing, which is like, this is an inside job, right?
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking about spirit. And
Mhm.
yeah, it moves within us and then things change. So
Yeah.
you're
And I think,
certainly,
yes, yes, absolutely.
yeah.
And I think really embodying this vision is super important, and not
Mm,
just doing, I think, and that goes along probably with that question about if you were to help, if someone was holding a vision. Um, I think the hardest part of that is not making it something that it's not, just to please the world that you're in, whatever that environment is, which is challenging because right now I'm also needing, if I'm looking at funding for supporting, and because I want to be able to pay my facilitators, um, and potentially this could be a job for me as well, and to receive grants and funding. I may have to bend a little bit, but I don't want to. So there's that part of it that I'm like, I have to. I still want to be true to the vision and not be, well, I'm going to make this fit someone
hmm.
else's box or container. That it's in my container, but I have to make it. I want to make it accessible to people, but also I don't want to just do it to please that response of just pleasing everyone. Oh, I'm going to make it so everyone likes this kind of thing, or it fits what the language or the wording I need or whatever. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
This is, especially from a lunar cycle perspective, this
Mm,
full moon tomorrow is a place of really supporting the seeing of the vision and allowing the continued refinement to happen, as the phase wanes out. And we close this period, this first opening act, I like to call it, of the eclipse
mhm.
season.
Okay.
So there are many layers there that astrology can illuminate, right?
Yeah.
But just that idea that holding the vision, like really seeing it right now. This
Yeah.
is a full moon in the heart space.
I love that.
And
Yeah.
that's where we are right
Ocean,
now.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, like really allowing that fullness to just be, knowing that it's going to be refined here and there. And as long as it's in alignment with source, right, with spirit, that
Yeah.
however that needs to be,
Hmm.
will be okay, even
Oh,
if it's not necessarily how we think it will be in this moment.
okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
Well, I'm so glad that we got a chance to get together,
Yeah,
Rachel.
this was so
Thank
wonderful.
you for this. I'll stop the recording now.
Okay.
Well, first I'll just say, when is the next Vibe meeting scheduled?
So right now we haven't, I don't know if we've scheduled another Vibe meeting because the next meeting will be our event.
Right,
But
the event.
the
Yeah.
event. So the event itself is March the first. It's our first one. Will be
Okay.
it's the inaugural one, March 12th. So it's a Thursday
Ooh,
evening.
okay.
So it's coming up in a few weeks. So it's always going to be, well, at this point, I shouldn't say always, but it will be at this point every second Thursday of the month.
Okay.
So right now it'll be the 12th from 6:30 to 8 here at UUCV. So in
Okay.
the sanctuary area. So
And that's the one that's in Boiling Springs?
yes, where you
Yeah,
came
okay.
for the fair. Yeah, for the
Yeah, okay.
yeah, yeah. And that's another sort of culmination, like at the end, like a lot of people have been asking, when's your next wellness fair? And we had such great conversations at the wellness fair. I mean, we may not have had a lot of customers, but we had a lot of people like, oh, this is great. I get to meet some other practitioners. And, so that kind of also kind of led me to think, we need to do more of this connection.
Right.
Uh,
This is like the mini wellness fair breakout
exactly.
rooms in
Exactly.
between the annual
I love
events,
that.
right?
It
So you can
is.
keep the momentum going.
Yes.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
is so much about just trusting the
Yeah.
process as it unfolds.
And I will send you the updated, I have an updated proposal, but it has like the dates and the themes are already determined. Like we're going to do the whole theme basically for the year is belonging. So we're going to do some aspect of belonging.
Mm,
And so we're kind of, what does that mean? And then incorporating these different things that we're asking about or curious about into that.
hmm.
And because that's really where this comes from is like, people have said, I can't talk to my conservative family about this topic, or I can't, so trying to have a place where people, where do I belong with this conversation?
Right.
And so
Yeah.
that's sort of the starting point where we're going to start on March 12th, is that kind of framing that a little bit. With a little bit, we're going to have singing bowls and we're going to have a meditation. So Matt Kramer and Jen Slothauer are going to be helping me in that facilitation.
Hmm.
And they're going to be kind of my backup crew, the crew for the facilitators. And then ultimately, then each month I'd like to incorporate, if another facilitator. I know Ricky has said she'll come and do some aspect of that, but again, it'll relate to whatever that the theme is that month. So I will
Hmm.
send you that, so because it's all been updated too since I think I sent you the original document. So um but yeah, I would love to see what you think. And if and certainly I don't want people to feel like they have to fit in again to that theme, like they're thinking, well, belonging sounds nice but it's not really my thing. That's fine. Or if you just want to come and check it out, which I
Hmm.
encourage people to do anyway. Just come and see what it is, because I don't even know what it is. Like, what's going to happen? Maybe it's going
Right.
to change. Maybe we'll do something completely different in April. I don't know. So I kind of want to just keep it open to, but again, I don't want to change it because everyone's complaining, but I want to do it because, okay, well, maybe it just feels like we're going this direction and not this direction. So,
Yeah, being flexible when you're creating
oh,
something new is such an important skill
yeah,
to have.
yeah.
We have a friend who says often, "Blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be bent out of shape." So
Yes, I love
we like to say that on a pretty regular basis.
you have to be. I mean, I've been a teacher. I've led classes, as I'm sure you have, where you get a few people or no one signs up, and I don't get upset about that, because to me it's like, again, it's not, the timing isn't good, or for whatever reason it's just not meant to be this time around. So we need to shift the thinking. And sometimes I feel like, well, maybe I'm just stuck in what I want to happen, how I want it to
Hmm.
happen. And then that's not really what people need in the universe.
Right. And that's that piece where we
Yeah.
really get to
I
meet
love that.
ourselves at the canvas, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
the safest place to meet all of our parts
I love
because no one can tell us we're wrong. No
Right.
one can really see what's going on, but
Mm.
we have a place to externalize that so it's not unconsciously just ruling us, which is no fun.
I love that, just meeting at the canvas. I love that, because there is a lot, and I think you've helped me a lot, Angel, too. I mean, I like to do art, but I don't really care. Like, I just do it. And some people, like, because I've seen it even with Reiki and other thing, where people just, they don't trust
Hmm.
their ability to do whatever it is. And I say, look, it's not meant to be perfect, like meditation. It's not meant that we have to sit perfectly still, or we have to do a certain thing or whatever. It's all a practice. We're all just practicing, and that is where we learn, is in the practice. Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. 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 At
Yeah.
least that's one way of thinking about it, I guess. But
That's a perfect place
yeah.
to, I think,
Yeah.
wrap it up because that is so true. Like the path is the practice and the practice is the path. And
Right.
that can change and
Yeah.
grow and should evolve over
Right.
time. But it, as far as I can tell, doesn't go away. Like,
That's right. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
whatever I can do to support your process, Angel, I absolutely love this, and showing up for you, and promoting what you
Thank
do.
you.
I've referred a few people to you, they'll come to me asking about astrology, and I'm like, well, I know someone else who can help you with that. But also just the way you frame the astrology. It's not like, okay, we're looking at the nitpicky, like, what does this house mean? What is this? And
Mm,
really, I like the overall view, because that's guided me more than I think a
mm.
specific thing. I think a lot of
Oh, yeah.
like, people want the result. What is the result of this chart? What is the result? And I feel like this was more like an open-ended, but like, it
Mm,
gave me it was a guide, but it was creative. It was opening up for creative possibility. So
mm,
that's what I to look back on it, because it was interesting, before you called me, or before you sent me the message about meeting, I was looking at this just the other week,
mhm.
and I looked at it actually on November of 2025, and then I pulled it out again, and then it's so interesting. So I have a binder of all, like, the stuff, like when I've had a class or things like that, and so I've kept this, because to me
Mhm.
it's important to keep that and keep going back to those things too. So yeah.
I love that and really deeply appreciate the feedback because I've gone back and forth on whether to continue doing the written things. I love the emotional weather report. I think it's incredibly valuable, but not everybody does. So I'm looking at
Yeah.
like, okay, maybe I make that an add-on. So
Right.
back end stuff
Right.
that I've been thinking about. But
Yeah.
I really appreciate you passing my name on to
Yeah.
people. And, if there are common questions or themes that people have, I would be more than happy to do a little talk
Absolutely.
for people who are astro curious, because
Yeah.
it
Uh,
is a different way of, like, there's all kinds of ways that you can practice and use astrology. And mine is very much evolutionarily informed. And
yeah.
it's a relational consultation approach, which
Right.
is different. I'm not defining and,
Hmm.
prescribing. It's more alive, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is. It's beautiful. And I really
Oh,
appreciate your time. So, yeah.
thank you. Well, please feel free to share the classes with anyone you
Oh,
think would
absolutely.
benefit. I'm also doing one at Horizons Creative Studio in March 26th, I think.
Oh, nice. I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the angel of all good things. So
Ah,
that's
I love that. Oh
another
my God.
favorite of mine. Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Well,
All
again,
right, Rachel.
yeah, best to you and to Keith.
Same,
Yeah.
same. Yeah, same to you and Chris. And I'll send you some information from our time together
Okay,
here
perfect. And I
this week.
love this recording. I don't know if I could have a copy of this too.
Yes, this is absolutely one of the things I'm just going to send to you. That way, if you want to take little snippets of
I was
what
going to say,
you
could I
have said.
take clips? I thought about for
Yep.
Vibe or whatever. I was thinking if that would be okay.
That was my intention of doing this. I think
Okay.
it's a great reciprocal way of just supporting each other. Like
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
two people are excited about what they're doing and what the other people are doing, then
Yeah,
it's natural heart marketing,
absolutely. Oh, I love that. Heart
yeah.
marketing. That's so cool.
Yeah. That's a whole other idea I have. I'd like to launch it someday.
You
But
know, we need it. We need more of that because it's so hard to find marketing or business models. I know I'm grateful that Ricky has taught me a few things as well from
mhm.
her perspective, but it's so hard to find like energy based business
Oh, yeah. I
courses.
have a whole process that I teach that
Wow.
you make a book, your vision book for your business. So
That's what
before you
I
get
do.
to the nuts and bolts of line items on a
Uh,
spreadsheet, you bring in the big vision and you really get clear on, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Who is it for? What are they going to experience? How is this impacting the world? All of that.
I would love to do a class with you on that. Like if you
Yeah. If you
class
know,
and invite a bunch
any,
of people because I think
yeah.
that's a really um important thing because I have people asking me, about business,
Mhm.
and I just tell them a little bit, mostly from experience. But it would be nice to have someone else teach that, and so
Mhm.
you have a system that would be lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it really is a creative way to
Hmm.
tap into what your business wants to be. And
Right.
once you have that, it's easier to put it on paper.
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah. Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. Well, keep your eyes and ears open.
I,
And if you have a couple people who are interested in that, I'd love to teach that class. It's
yes, that would
wonderful.
sound fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Heart marketing.
Heart Mark. Yeah.
All
Well, thank you.
right, Rachel. Yeah,
Oh,
thank you so much. And I'll be in touch, and we'll just
yeah.
see where we go from here.
Perfect. All
All
right.
right.
Have a
Take
wonderful
care.
day.
You
Peace.
too. Bye.